Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm your host, Kevin Wallace, and before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Streetside Brewery, because if you're needing some beer for the 4th of July, this holiday weekend, they've got you covered. Check them out at your local neighborhood grocery store, wherever you're picking up beer. You can always check out their tap room as well, which is awesome. They've got a ton of TVs, but it's still a relaxed, chill environment and awesome patio that is pet friendly. And they've always got different food trucks. They have a rotating food truck in this week as well. And as well as events like live music and bingo on the 4th of July. Jonathan Cody White playing from 3 to 6, bingo at 7. Then you have music this weekend as well. Joe Cowles, Dr. Hugh, Gary Burch and the Blamers. There's a whole bunch of great stuff going on. If you want to check them out, and you should, in the tap room over on the east side of Cincinnati in the historic Columbia Tusculum neighborhood, head on over to 4003 Eastern Avenue, or just Google Streetside Brewery like everybody else does, and it'll take you right to one of the coolest places to grab a drink in Cincinnati. Huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this and many other episodes of the Postcast. And on today's episode, well, we have a very full, very special 4th of July episode for you. In part one, we recap that DC United win on the road as FC Cincinnati is staking a claim at being one of the best road teams in MLS history. In part two, it's a couple of pieces of interesting news around MLS. And then in part three, it's a Miami preview and prediction. Who is actually going to be on this Miami roster that is going to face FC Cincinnati at TQL Stadium? Find out on this 4th of July edition of the Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I've got two gentlemen fresh off of watching FC Cincinnati win yet again on the road against DC United, joined by Grayson and also joined by Jonah. Jonah, the question was posed, is this the first time FC Cincinnati and the Reds have won 3-2 on the same day? What say you?
Not only is it the first time they've both won 3-2, it's the first time they've both won on a Wednesday. Which is almost hard to believe, but that's what stats will do sometimes.
We have to believe
baffling.
It. Yes.
We do.
Oh my God. Yeah, wow. This was a fun one. This was a game that going into it, we probably expected a win. DC United's not great. They're missing their one and only good player in Christian Benteke. I don't know. I thought it was a pretty comprehensive win, but the scoreline in the end of the game didn't make me feel that way. Before we dive into it, I don't know, Grayson, what were sort of your gut reaction to that one?
Well, they weren't just missing Christian Benteke. They were also missing their other good player, Christian Jonah.
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking, surely if two Christians are missing, the devil will play.
I don't know Troy Lissane's religion, but I'll assume for this sake that he is also a Christian. They're missing 3 Christians today.
Well, Chief just texted me. He said, no Christian is worth a DP spot in this league. Set your aim higher. I couldn't agree more.
This is a Muslims only DP team.
It's a good point. I mean, people did when like Hard Knocks was in Cincinnati, people did point out that like rather than get amped up for the game, Andy Dalton just listened to praise music and in his headphones. And the question was raised of like, does he have like the killer instinct to really make it in the league. And since he was, I assume, the only Christian player in the league at the time, the criticism feels appropriate.
Yeah. We did see it derailed Tim Tebow's career as well. So I definitely think it's worth asking.
Still lucrative. Ray Lewis was probably the biggest Christian, and he murdered someone. Just goes to show you can have that killer instinct and still praise God. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I know some of his representatives are probably big Postcast fans, so gotta say that.
They're always listening. Mm-hmm. And for the sake of accuracy, it's an alleged double homicide.
My apologies. It's an assisted tackle on that one.
Right. I guess DC United is Baltimore's MLS team in this world. Maybe they're Charlotte fans, but so yeah, there you go.
Pablo Maurer wouldn't like this talk.
No, not so much. This is not his dream talk here.
Would he not like it, or would he like it?
He'd like to not like it. Did you know he has a girlfriend? Sorry.
Do you know he's dating?
I think it's very normal for a 45-year-old man to come up with an excuse to like show a picture of like, I assume, his first girlfriend.
Yeah. Or like,
it's the only way you do that. Yeah.
Every bar he's been to in the last month.
I do think he posts like every time he leaves his house, which he also posts about like buying a house. And
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, people follow you for like awkward pictures of Christian Pulisic on a couch, or like the story behind Donovan taking a picture drinking from a water fountain. I don't know. Like,
yeah, when you're doing the microblogging
I do think
thing,
it's cool. I think it's cool to have a house.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's news.
You imagine some DC United fan still has Pablo Maurer like notifications on. They're real disappointed these days.
Pregnant pause.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Kevin.
I can't wait to invite him on.
He'll never back listen. Except maybe the DC episode, actually.
That's a good point. Of all of them, this might be the one. No, I was just going to say, before we talk about this game, I do want to quickly read off the lineup because I thought this was interesting. This threw me for a loop because, yeah, all right, we'll get into it. But going into this one, you got Roman Celentano in goal, Ian Murphy, Miles Robinson, Kip Keller as your backline. Get used to those three. DeAndre Yedlin on the left, Luca Orishano on the right as your wingbacks, Buka, Obi, and Acosta, the midfield trio, Valenzuela, and Kelsey up top. Jonah, Orishano is now the starting right wingback? Huh? What's happening here?
Well, according to Kalen Carr, it's just been amazing ever since they made the switch. And then I'm like, didn't they just do this? Kalen Carr just like praising us. And he was like, it's been an amazing switch since they put him on there. I was like, I think this is the first one. Obviously, it's happened during games.
Right.
A few times. But I just thought that was kind of amusing. Play him on any fucking side. He's driving straight at the goalie every time he gets the ball now anyway. So he's like, I'm not even cutting in anyway. So I'm just going straight at the goalie. So he didn't get a goal tonight. So I guess it was a failure. But otherwise, you know, what was the quote? I don't know who got the quote before, but it might have been Laurel. Asked Noonan about it, and he's kind of like he earned going to that side. He showed you enough, and he kind of just chuckled and said yes or whatever. So, I mean, I guess he did. It was. Yeah, I didn't notice anything negative about it. So yeah, play wherever the fuck he wants. Let's enjoy the ride when we got him.
I'll take credit for this. I think a few weeks ago accused Noonan of like only having one move, which was moving Orishano to the right. And so it seems like he's doubled down on that. On that tactic. He's
taken away his only move. He can't move him now.
The interesting thing about that, right? Because he put Orishano on the right and Yedlin on the left.
Right. Correct.
And I saw some criticism of like Kevin Kelsey's involvement tonight. And like, if you don't get width from your wingbacks, aren't you kind of pulling the cross into Kevin Kelsey out of your toolkit?
Yes. like that was kind of the idea, right? Is Yedlin and Orishano would lob balls into the giant.
Obviously, like Kelsey, like getting a cross in for a header is not the only way he scored a goal this season, right?
But it's most of them.
It might be the best, though.
But it is like a main way you could use him.
Right.
Like it's, I don't know, like 95% of Brandon Vasquez's goals for this team was a cross from out wide, either like to his head or to his feet.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to be like hard on Kevin Kelsey. When it feels like one of the primary ways that he's goal dangerous, you've just taken out of your team.
Yeah. It's like if you made Roman Celentano not play with his hands anymore. And you're like, well, he's not as good of a goalkeeper as he was before. So, well, he took his main tool away. Like, that's
Tyler
gonna be
Miller's
tough
like,
for
watch
anybody.
me. Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't help that
if you were like Lucho, you can't meg anybody anymore.
Right. He'd quit. He'd quit
Well,
on the
Megs are down this year, I will say, because that's the number one thing I look for. And also, he had one of his weaker games.
Yeah.
He still had enough moments, but, he didn't. That doesn't help Kelsey either. But I thought Kelsey he's got a motor that never stops. So 90% of what he did today was just chasing people down and shielding guys off of him. And
I thought Kelsey was quite good today, like just to my eye. Like it just always feels like with his hold up play, with his physical play, with his pressing, he just always like provides like a presence that we just didn't have at any point in time this year when he wasn't in the team. Obviously, he pressed his way into a goal.
Yeah.
Which, like, counts.
Yeah.
That counts on the stat sheet. It counts, to me. So it's hard for me to accept any, like, evaluation of Kevin Kelsey that doesn't take into account that he, scored. And scored by being opportunistic, like forwards need to be. So... Yeah. He did the thing that like Brenner feasted on a lot, that pressing, the striker pressing move. And it worked. It did not deflect off of him. He genuinely chased him down. How many times have we watched DC in the last like couple of years and we're like, you gotta catch Tyler Miller.
It's funny
you gotta
because
get him.
He had basically lost his job in like the times that we haven't seen him. So they were saying on the broadcast too that he like just came back to the lineup after being out for injury since like August of last year. But yes, it did. Like the second I saw it was Tyler Miller, I was like, great. Luka's getting another midfield bomb. Like this is awesome. Now I understand a lot of that was apparently Wayne Rooney's insane ideas on how goalkeeping should be played. But yeah, it was
which is weird because Wayne Rooney has scored that goal. Yeah.
But Miller still like lost the ball a ton out of the back.
Oh yeah. You can see why he would lose his job.
Yeah.
Maybe DC wants to trade for Ali Khan, and we take one of their center backs that did really terrible tonight. I don't know if this is a selling point, but
yeah, he's always been, even I think they had that issue when he was in LA and he seemed like he was kind of like the next stud goalie, but he was like liable to make that kind of mistake. And then you just give him the directive that he can play basically as high as he wants to. And I remember that first game they played at home, and I'm watching the whole time, like screaming for that, like, we're going to get him. And then it happened to him twice during that season. And this one, as CST pointed out, he dawdled on the ball. We all know what dawdled means, which is apparently the ball ricochets off of you with a horrible touch.
How do they spell dawdle?
D-A-W? I think so.
Okay, that seems right.
What does dawdle mean to you? Dawdle to me means like you kind of like playing
like
with
dilly-dallied.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mosey even comes to mind.
No, it was just a terrible touch. I played it back to him, and his touch was like 6 feet off of him.
And his reaction to the touch was delayed.
So, but he wasn't just like, sometimes you catch him when they're literally just standing there or holding the ball too long, which is how Brenner got most of his. But yeah, Kelsey is like Brenner, except he's built like a fucking brick shit house. So it's a little more intimidating to see those fucking shoulders bearing down on you. So yeah, shout out to him.
Every time Kelsey shows some tiny bit of skill, I'm always shocked. Like, to me, he should be the most unskillful player on the field. And he might be the second most after Lucho. Like, he is so good.
He's so skilled for his size.
It's really, really, really fun to watch him. Actually, I'll ask you that because I got the rare opportunity to watch the entire game with my daughter. She showed interest all the way through until she fell asleep about 5 minutes into the second half. But she asked me an interesting question. I'll ask it to you two. Who are the two best players on FC Cincinnati? Lucho, obviously, I think is everybody's number one, although I'm happy to hear whatever arguments you have against it. I don't think I have a clear number two, which is probably a positive for the FC.
Is it the other All-Stars? Those are the easy picks.
Orishano and Robinson?
Yeah, one of those two.
I don't. So I think Orishano has an argument, but my choice is Kubo. I think Kubo is the second best player on FC Cincinnati.
I ask it because how much longer do we have to go before Buka enters this conversation? Because tonight, obviously, 2 goals is going to stand out, right? But he's been doing a lot more. As we've talked about, he's one of the best in the league at that MLS secondary assist, the hockey assist. His tackling has been incredibly clean. His passing is awesome. And all of a sudden, he's adding some goals to his repertoire here. I don't know. He's starting to skyrocket in my books. If I'm buying stocks, I've already regretted not buying in to Buka earlier than this because he's on a trajectory that I am happy to watch.
Well, I'm not prepared to say Buka is like the second best player on the team.
Yes, that's fair.
I did learn some interesting facts tonight about his name.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, Bukhta.
Bukhta. There's a hidden T in there. Okay.
Yeah. So his name is Bukha, but apparently Bukhta means either a like cutie, like that's like a cutie over there, or kind of like a chubby lady, but like in a positive way. So I think.
So we've got Weston McKennie's nickname already sorted.
Yeah. So I think he's like definitely like a cutie.
You can make that banner for him and see if it checks out.
Bukta, and we put like anime eyes and hearts all over him.
There was a headline about him in the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you guys are both subscribers. Chewing bone appetite. Buka advised to steer clear of RFK Jr. because he eats dogs. Right? Sorry, I don't know. Is that too soon? Do I have to explain that? I'm calling Buka a dog, guys. Okay. He's got to stay away from him.
I was worried for his life.
RFK Jr. eats dogs. To your point, Kevin, Buka's like Obi, but never makes that Obi pass that has been driving me insane, which used to be once a game, the Obi pass, which now is 2, 3, 4 times a game.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're Obi, you do one thing extremely well. And if you only do that pretty well and you start doing things that aren't good, then like you have me, I'm like, Weston, hello. like if you're not like the all conquering ball winner and you're just like a very, very good one, it makes your mistakes a lot more glaring. And I can probably count, and I don't remember off the top of my head, the amount of bad passes that Buka has had for the entire season. Like I can't remember any of those where he tapped it to the wrong guy or he caused a break the other way. And if it was early in the season. So yeah, he's the Obi that doesn't make mistakes. So yeah, he's climbing up the ranks.
I just saw like another, since Jonah dropped a headline, I decided to search for a headline in that period of time. And I found this in, I don't know, Stereo Gum.
Yeah, I'm hip.
It's Pavel Ment. It says, park that bus, sweep the ball, press forward, score the goal.
I got nothing.
Is that a broken social scene reference? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, there we go. That reads more pitchfork to me, but Stereo Gum works as well. That's nitpicking. Hey, they're the ones who made the headline. They're the ones who made the headline.
Look,
it's not you.
I had like a minute to find this headline. So.
Hey, it went just as well as my RFK Jr. one. Folks, there's a picture of him eating a dog. Look it up on X.
To put some numbers behind what you're saying, though, Jonah, Buka accurate passing this game, 84%.
Oh, I should have said Buka social scene. Fuck.
Damn.
That's why I got to rehearse.
You got to rehearse. You got to plan ahead.
Heavy with the stats, Kevin. I'm ready.
Buka with an 84% accurate passes. Obi, 69%. That's
people are saying Buka social scene. People are saying
Bukta.
Yes.
Bukta.
I thought you were going to say Obi was like 80, and I was going to be like, yeah, but the ones that he does miss, but no, that's not great.
It's not good at all for a midfielder.
And they're not progressive.
I thought he was very bad today, but it is what it is.
I'm not calling for Obi's head, but he's one of those things where a year ago he's like maybe number 2 of most indispensable players.
Yeah.
And this year it just doesn't feel like that. But he can stay. I'm not going to vote him off the island or anything.
Recently, Junior Moreno posted a couple of photos either from or of Mercy Hill Training Center. You taking a flyer on Junior Moreno rest of the season?
If you're asking me, of course I am. What do you say, Grayson?
I think I take him on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd assume a league minimum-ish deal.
Yeah.
Just to get through the season.
I don't always love just like the best player picking his friends to be on the team. Like your Aaron Rodgers types. Like, no, actually he's a good wide receiver. And they're like, no, he's not.
LeBron James more recently.
Whoever. But when it comes to Lucho,
yeah,
like I'm in on it because you need to know what he's doing. And Yamil Assad and Lucho, like he might be useless without Lucho, but he is excellent with Lucho because he knows him.
When Assad came in the game, the first thought that came into my head is like, this is a Yamil Assad podcast. I've liked, like we've said it, we've liked everything we've seen from Yamil Assad. We don't necessarily need to see more, but we've liked what we've seen.
He's perfect, just the way he is. Don't need any more, any less. He comes in, and Lucho loves it when he comes in. He's like, he's going to get me the ball in the right spot. He always does. And he's just like a veteran, so he's someone who's not panicking at the end of all of our one-goal games. So, yeah. Junior Moreno was kind of like that last year. Like, the best example is that layoff to Lucho in that Atlanta game, that, like, one-touch pass. So, like, if they want to take I'm going to call it a flyer, but a flyer on Moreno. He's, him instead of Pinto for a sub or two. That's not the worst thing in the world.
Well, Pinto's hurt, right?
Yeah,
just in general. Whoever your backup D-mid is, yeah.
Yeah, even if Pinto's not hurt, I'd still would take Moreno.
I'm pouring dirt on his grave.
The thing with Moreno is, like, him on a minimum deal is worth more to us than anybody else on a minimum deal.
Right.
Because he, like, knows what we want him to do.
And all the guys. Like, there's no culture
there's
fit
all the guys.
question.
Yes.
It is funny, and it's a shame we didn't have him for this game, because Assad, Acosta, and Moreno, I'm pretty sure, played for at least 1, maybe 2 years together in DC.
Yeah.
And they were not great. So...
It's all blowing Matt Doyle's brain, I'm sure. He was like so mad at the Moreno deal. Like they didn't watch him clearly. I'm like, where's this Moreno you were talking about?
The criticism of the Moreno deal was, it was not like informed or like cogent. It was just,
since he did something.
We're sneaking one last dig into Cincy.
Yeah. Because, like, I'm stupid when it comes to MLS, and the Moreno deal made perfect sense to me. Right, of course. Because at the time we needed somebody, right, and you were going to have to overpay a hint to bring people to a team that had just finished last 3 times in a row, right? So, right, and the whole, like, he was on, like, the whole thing where he was like, he was like a non-starter on a non-playoff team. Well, he started like 30 games for a team that was like 1 point out of the playoffs. Like, it was like the most like bad faith kind of criticism of that deal you could possibly have come up with. It was insane. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So glad that Matt Doyle came on the podcast, and would love to have him again. Yes.
But if you come from Moreno, I swear to fucking God.
But
who doesn't even play on this team anymore?
Yeah, he picked Carnell for coach of the year. The guy is not even coach of anything right now. So thank God they opened up another coach that can go fill one of the other vacancies for us, just so that there's just probably one fewer opportunity for Arena to go somewhere else. Yeah, so that seems like a part 2 conversation. Yes. But yeah, I agree. Yes. On DC's goals in this one, the first goal is just a really bad defensive breakdown. Like, the ball is really lazily cleared, I'll say, by Buka after we just got done singing his praises. The ball is just like gently tapped right into the direction of Rodriguez, who dribbles through a very confused backline and takes Roman far post. It's a solid goal and annoying, but I think on the whole, I am happy with the performance of the backline. Does anybody disagree with what the first choice, quote unquote, backline looked like in this one? No, I think that's what we have. It's probably as good as it will get, unless and until something changes in the. So I do have one question. Okay. About the starting backline. Okay. So, I think that a backline with Orishano on the left and Yedlin on the right is probably more defensively sound. More defensively oriented than swapping them. And I assume that the reason for swapping Orishano to the right is that you want to take advantage of his like cutting inside.
Yeah.
But it felt like they were doing so much on the left.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like they were really like, especially like in the first half, it didn't feel like they were really like using Orishano on the right all that much.
It's just
like,
funny.
What's the thought there?
Can you force a team? Obviously, if it's obvious, but there's been games where I'm like, I feel like one of their goals is to not let him cook, and like.
But Lucho likes to cook on the left.
But I'm saying the other team like makes effort to keep it off that side. But like, I don't know. I can't tell with my stupid eyes if like this is anything to do with the defense or it's just the way we're playing. Because sometimes I feel like one of their goals is like, yeah, I'll play it to that side, especially if it's not Yedlin and it's Luke on the other side. It's pretty obvious. Like last year, like we're going to let Ray Gaddis have all the space in the world. That's the thing you could actually see. They're like, why do we keep playing with Ray? It's like, because he's the one who's been given all this space and they don't give it to Luka as much. That's what I would do if I was the opposing team and I watched any Luka. So I don't know if it's us, because yeah, as a fan, you're just like, give it to him, even if he's, bookended, because we've seen him squeeze out and just start fucking shooting off towards goal.
He did that tonight. Like he squeezed out of spaces. Like,
yeah.
Pretty often.
He had one in the first half that, man, I thought it was getting some deja vu from Lucho's Charlotte goal last year. At least the moments in the box, she's just weaving in and out of guys.
He's definitely feeling himself now. He took one shot where Lucho was mad, and I was like, this is the monster you created. He's cooking now. You gotta let him go.
I had the same thought. I'm like, man, you can't get mad at Luke.
This isn't Dado.
He's like the other Lucho.
Yeah.
He gets like so for me, like the reason that you play Luca on the right is essentially you've created another Lucho. Is you have another guy that you like, you say like, yeah, you get to just cook. And like Jonah said, like Lucho, you can be mad at him, but you can't be that mad at him. Like he gets he gets to try stuff. He scored the goal from midfield a couple weeks ago. Like he gets to do stuff. Yeah, and it's actually you kind of see this like dueling Lucho idea on Buka's first goal, where DC again sort of screws up a clearance. Buka pounces on it, but he plays a give and go with Orishano on the right side, and Lucho is sort of just way out on the left, all by is himself there, and Buka's able to make it work and scores the goal. But it's just funny that like Lucho isn't involved at all, and our other very talented Argentinian technical players able to play these passes and get this going and get a goal. I don't know. It's fun. I'd like to see if we could get, 3 creative Argentinians. Maybe we put, a designated player striker up top named Paulo Dybala and see what it looks like when all 3 of them are out there. But
he's the successor to Messi. Some might say David Beckham. I'm rewatching our second goal. Oh, Dado with a bad pass, but kind of started the whole move by passing it into DC. So good for him.
They got to have the ball first in order for us to steal it back. So that was well done to Dado.
I will say, especially
the hockey says to himself. Go ahead, Grayson.
Especially that second goal. Lucho must have been fuming.
He's wide open on the left. He's not even facing he's just shrugging and mad.
You can see it as soon as Buka gets the ball, his shoulders drop.
He's so pissed.
But like, who on the team plays the ball to Buka like that, except for Lucho or Luca? Nobody.
Is this actually an argument for Lucho to be our left wing back?
No, but it's just something to keep your eye on, right? Like it's development to see.
Here's a thought. If Orishano is going to lock down the right wing back position, we know it's not Yedlin's preferred spot, although Yedlin as a center back, I'm growing accustomed to and don't mind it, at least from what we've seen against a bad DC team.
I also don't mind Yedlin at left back.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Because, we have another guy on the books that was an MLS All-Star left back that would be really fun to add to this team if Orishano is going to be a right back going forward.
Are you talking about Orishano?
I am talking about Alvaro Barreal.
Oh.
The greatest loan recall of all time. The angriest loan recall.
Bring him back. Explain, hey, you'll get on a better shop window here and we'll set a, what do they do in Spain? The buyout clause. Your buyout clause is like $3 million. Whoever wants to do it has got you.
So Barreal is on a loan through the end of this calendar year.
Yes.
So.
And is on what I assume is a U22 deal until somebody can show me that is not the case. But he is on a contract.
No, he wasn't on a U22 deal last year.
But he's on a contract that was written where his salary's not small enough, and he was under 23.
So first of all, they signed him to an extension, and then they used like Tam or Gam to buy him down off the U22 spot.
Damn it.
Because last year they couldn't have more than one U22 player, and that was Marco Angulo.
So you're saying we could convince the MLS league office?
Obviously it's just a wet dream to think about this, and we don't have Messi. Are we allowed to say that name?
Yes.
But we feel like if we had Barreal too, all of a sudden it's like, we're like Miami. Like with those two guys as our wingbacks on both sides, that's terrifying for anyone you play. And that's why it's not going to happen. But just like the thought of that gives you a little, it makes your hair stand up a little bit. It's so excited. So, and the thing is, if we did have Messi, he'd be like, okay, I will play in the MLS still, which is the annoying part. Like he gets those guys. He'd be like, no, I don't need to get loaned to Brazil. I'll stick it out in MLS with Messi. That should be Lucho too. But, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know how the numbers work, but in theory, it's just nice to dream about. So it could happen. Tweet that, people. You might get a Barreal back really soon. So it's something to think about.
Tweet at Barreal to come back. He'll love that. That's a really good use of social media.
You'll be happier here, buddy. Based on nothing.
I mean, I don't think he was in, somebody said he wasn't even in the match day roster on their last league game. So.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, so Orishano is like such a hot commodity. Maybe Orishano moves on and Barreal comes back and just gets to play in the spot that Orishano carved out for himself, which is Barrial's like preferred position, which is like that right wing.
Right. I hope that they just like there's one furnished apartment and the two of them have just been living.
It would be really funny to like exercise Orishano's purchase option and just like sell him for double and then just bring Barreal back to play in that spot.
Make Barreal the DP.
No, he wouldn't need to be. Well, he would just be who he is. They have an option for 2025 on Barreal.
Barreal subbed into their last game.
Damn.
Today.
Did he score 2 goals?
He did not score somehow. But it's a little, I know a lot of people have that haircut, but it's a little like single white female, if you know the reference to that. Like we bring in this everything is the same, and then he like the hair, the position, the old team, like it's so weird. Like I like think of a scenario, just replace him with someone else. It's just a kind of a bizarre scenario, and it worked out great. But I'll be checking out these highlights tonight for sure.
It is very much a Richard Harris, Michael Gambon situation. The Dumbledore actors.
Okay. Yes. I heard Richard Dawkins in my head, and I was like,
no. The guy who played Dumbledore in the first two Harry Potter movies was like very old, very limited, did a nice job, but died. And then they got like a younger guy who, as the needs of the role became more like dynamic, was actually able to fill it better, honestly, than the original guy they cast. So
I need the scene in Iron Man 2 when Don Cheadle shows up after they've recast War Machine, and he goes, "Look, I'm here. This is me. We're doing this." It's the most like meta conversation to the audience. Like, I'm the character now. Just so in case you guys were wondering, that's me now.
Do you guys have preferred Hans from Mighty Ducks 1 and 2? I don't think that guy died. Maybe he just wanted a
Hans was 1 and 3. Jan was number 2.
Oh, did they just like pretend it was a different character?
No, it's the same guy.
Jan was in number 2. It was a different guy.
I refuse to believe. No, it's a different guy. You're saying it's a different character?
It's a different character from 1 to 2.
Wow.
Right,
in my head, it's the same character, but this is blowing my mind.
No.
Jan. Wow, that's... Oh, there's even a fucking line in it. It's in IMDb. The coach says Hans couldn't make it. Said, "Now don't get me started with that strudel head. He went back to the old country. He wanted to see our mother." She loved him more, you know. Whoa,
so they made it his brother. That's so good.
Yeah. How did I not remember that?
Yeah.
What a good sentence to wrap it up. He went back to the old country and had to see our mom. Also, how old's your mom? 150 fucking years old? Get real.
He's supposed to be the wise old man. Yeah.
And then Hans comes back for D3.
Is it the same actor, though?
It's the same actor as Hans. So the actor of Hans left Mighty Ducks 1, skipped 2, came back for 3. Maybe in between he went on Lethal Weapon and said diplomatic immunity. But I think that was before Mighty Ducks at all.
Didn't Beer Fest do this, where the character dies and they replace him with his twin brother, and he shows up and he's like, "You just call me by the same name."
So yes, Beer Fest did that, where they had a character die and they found that he had a twin. Yes. And he's like, it'd be easier for me if you just call me by my brother's name.
It says he was unavailable to reprise his role, so he's replaced. So Jan's name is Jan in real life too. Wow.
Yeah. Had to really stretch for that role.
You just blew my mind. I thought man, Jan and Hans. See, you learn a lot, guys. You listen to this. There's people minds blown right now.
How late into production did they decide to make it a different character versus a recast?
Like, how are we going to explain this? Like, one line, old country. That's all you need to say. Like, you got it.
Oh, you silly guy.
Hans was so bookta.
Oh, he was. 50th minute, Kevin Kelsey gets a yellow card for attacking Tyler Miller. It felt inevitable that he was getting a card in this game. Kelsey plays very physically.
He's just too big.
He is
too
Kubo
good.
got a yellow card for I don't know what.
Playing after the whistle. Okay.
Yeah, but he
no, I know.
He was offside and took a shot.
That has happened.
A nice floater.
Literally everybody who's offside takes the shot.
Yeah. And sure, it was whistled, but in the era of VAR,
come on,
you have to play it all the way through.
Yeah, it was strange that they blew the whistle right away. They usually don't like on and offside like that, even if it's obvious.
It's
just let everything fucking go.
Just some classic Kubo treatment is what it was.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Dado didn't have his breakout game. It wasn't horrible, but he's the new Kubo, and that you could just fucking just knock him all over the place. He spent half the first half on the fucking ground. Protect Dado. He's the future of this league, so show some respect out there, referees.
That is true. You can like hit Dado, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It is very
Try
fitting.
that shit with Kelsey. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fitting that Kubo subbed in for Dado. So they truly are the same role there. What do we make of both the strikers getting subbed out? Also very un-Pat Noonan. I'll say some lots of early subs. Were these changes made with an eye to Miami, or is this just regular, even if we had Charlotte coming up at the weekend, we would have seen the same moves? Because in my mind,
I think they're subs with an eye to the weekend.
I think so. What say you, Jonah?
Also, like Kubo for Dado, that makes sense regardless of the situation.
Right.
Kelsey, has he finished a game?
That's a good question. They did this with Bupenza as well for a long time.
I mean, he gets his money's worth out there. He's not like Bupenza. Like he's constantly, it's effective, but he uses his youth to his advantage. He's sprinting a lot. He's running a lot. But yeah, I'm sure he could have stayed in there. But nothing that I saw was like, we're just fucking holding down the fort. It was like, yeah, we could probably get a goal just as easily now. And it's probably true. Even though we scored more earlier, it looked like we got a little more lively. Obviously, DC's pushing a lot harder. But yeah, I assumed it was because of Miami. But remember when they showed... They cut to DC's bench, and even Kalen Carr is like, not a lot to work with over there. It was a lot of like number 43s, like those kind of players, like just like filling. They didn't even like a lot of empty seats on that bench, and then like, yeah, it's rough. We got a DP on the bench who we don't even put in the fucking game. Maybe right. I don't know. Was he on the bench? I didn't even look. But
Jonah, I had to look it up. Kevin Kelsey has played 90 minutes twice this season.
Okay.
But get this, back to back, May 25th, and then turned it around May 29th, and that's it. That's all we've ever done with him.
We're saving them for the games that matter.
Yeah. Lost to Nashville 2-0 in that last game that he went 90 minutes. So that's probably why. We haven't lost since then. That feels right.
It is. Like if we had blown this game, Chief would be on here. He'd made a way to get on here and be like, good teams don't lose these games. But we're gonna like set the record for most road wins. It's like in the MLS, you're gonna lose some of these games, and you're like, we shouldn't have lost this team. Like, well, you can't win every road game, and we're just gonna win every road game. Like we are an anomaly. This is not the normal course of a season for any team.
Yeah.
So, the fact that if it's sloppy and we win, it's like, you really just got to be grateful we're getting all these dubs on the road, because it's not normal.
No,
at all.
It is not normal. Also, they said on the broadcast, DC has not won at home in 9 matches. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, we're losing. Like, you don't, even thought. In this league, you don't go 10 matches without winning at home.
Also, so you guys were, I know it was Grayson, you're talking about kind of praising Toronto's manager, like he's been good or whatever. And then like I was watching the pregame MLS show, and they were like, they haven't won in like 9 games or something. It's like, it's getting rough in Toronto. I was like, oh geez, like yeah, I had the same thought. I'm like, Toronto's good again or whatever. Then like, it's been almost 10 games since they managed to win a game or something, some crazy stat. And I was like, never mind. Oh, they're not cooking at all.
12 losses, 7 wins, -9 goal differential, just clinging on to 8th place, tied in a 3-way tie for being in the playoffs right now.
They kept saying, yeah, they're still in the mix. I'm like, yeah, Everyone's still in the mix at the lower. The bottom team has 20. That's DC is only 4 points away from Toronto, so still in the mix. Gotta love it.
Yeah, DC is 2 wins away from being in 7th place.
And when you watch them, it's like, this is what we used to look like. You know when you see it, like, oh, this is what a bad team looks like. They do the things that like we pull our hair out, like, oh my fucking God, but like all the time. They passed it to us like 10 times under no pressure. Like they're building it up and they're just like, hey, Obi, here you go.
Enjoy
Obi's
this.
like, no, you take it back.
We did give it to them for their second goal.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Was that the bad Kubo pass?
That was a bad Lucho pass.
No, it was a Kubo pass to Lucho.
To Lucho, and then Lucho.
He never had the ball, though. He like stuck his leg out like backwards half-heartedly. I place equal blame. Like if that was to someone else, they probably get it. But like Kubo was like, this is what we do. We force it to Lucho instead of like hitting it down the field. He's like, I'll play this sideways ball to Lucho. And, you know, I'm sure Lucho's blaming Kubo. If that means
fair.
anything.
That's fair.
They can both hang their heads in shame. What do you look, Kevin? Looks like you got some great stats in front of you.
I'm watching DC's second goal now, and yeah, you're exactly right. Lucha doesn't quite get it, but what bums me out is Buka and Keller both getting worked in this. Like that is really where this falls apart. Like, sure, you don't want to give up the ball, but it's right off of a set piece, so like. The whole defense is back, basically. It's not like they got beat in transition or something. And yeah, Buka's not trying that hard, which is actually, after all the praise, I think it's fair to say Buka's at fault for both of the goals. but
it looked like a Lucho goal, kind of.
Yeah, that's
where
what.
You just kind of embarrass the defenders. So it's like one of those. They said he's Brazilian, so... Yeah, they're allowed to do that, I guess.
Who says he's Brazilian?
I thought they said that Brazilian flair. That's a weird thing to say if he's not. I don't know.
I didn't have any sound because I was
That'd be way funnier if he wasn't.
And then like out at like a bar, so I was watching the game on my phone. With no sound.
Pirani is his name, and he has played with the Brazilian U23 team as recently as October 2023. And his first professional club, I don't have his wiki up, is Santos. So bounced around on loan in Brazil until he came to DC. He was on loan halfway through last year. They picked up his purchase option. And he was actually the guy who, this is wild, subbed in on this game. In the first half, he joined, or second half, he was a halftime sub for DC. So, yeah, wild that like that guy's on their bench. I don't know. Like none of the other attackers look particularly good. I don't know what the situation is or whatever, but like, I don't know why that guy's on the bench. So there you go. I don't know. That was a fun game. FC Cincinnati gets the win. Brett Halsey almost had a goal. It was actually a really good fingertip save by old Tyler Miller, but is well worked. And yeah, I don't know. In my mind, it's a race between Halsey and Dotto to get the first league goal.
They're both getting chances, that's for sure.
Yep.
But there's not really a betting favorite at this point if you watch that. You'd like to imagine Dado, but if he missed that chance last game, it's not looking good for him.
I really need Dado to get a goal in the league.
I still think he looks like a guy. You know, he hasn't shown it yet, but
just need him to score though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Kelsey could probably go 10 games without a goal, but like just looking at him like, no, he's good. I'm not comparing Dado to Kelsey at all. Right. But, you know, he passes my eye test, which is worth literally nothing. So I still love you, buddy. I love your name.
He passes the eye test more than Kimi ever did. And that's
true. Kimi like always looked like he was, you know, scratching just above that USL level.
Yeah.
Too good for USL. But I don't know. It was Marcanic Wait, which is the one? Is it the brother?
Marcanic.
Is the
Nick
twin doing
Marcanic
better? But they're both doing well.
Yeah, Nick Marcanic is like scoring a shitload of goals in USL, and he's going to be playing for the Filipino national team.
Okay.
He and his brother have both, I think, declared, or at least have been like reported to have declared for the Filipino national team.
Another blight against U.S. soccer. They lost.
Yep, they lost the Marcanics
brothers.
I mean, if Nick goes on and sets the USL single season goal scoring record, that's got to be
Russell.
That's on Chris Albright, to be honest. Like,
kind of.
If you're like we didn't have any use for this guy, come on.
We are desperate for a striker right now. That's what makes it worse.
Well, then Calvin Harris had a brace for Colorado the other week. So, I mean,
We got some money for Calvin Harris, though. We didn't get shit for Nick.
And Calvin Harris was international, which made his inclusion even harder to make sense when we were desperate for international spots back in the day. Yeah. Is there anything else from this game that we need before we... That can't be right. Oh, okay. Before we move on to part 2.
Buka, steer clear of RFK Jr. No, that's it.
Nope. Okay. All right, hit all the spots. Part 2, we're going to touch on some like MLS news, FCC news stuff, and then part 3, we've got a Miami preview coming up. So stick around for that. Part 2, fun grab bag of topics. Let's go. Before we get to the next part of the episode, I do want to tell you about our sponsor, Cincy Shirts, which is now the home of official Cincy postcast merch. This is so exciting, and we really never thought we'd see the day, and yet here we are, alive and actually seeing the day. Cincy Shirts has been with FC Cincinnati from the beginning. They've been with the Post for ever now, from the beginning, our very first sponsor. So happy to have them along for this journey. There are 6, count them, 6 different shirts available at this time of recording that you can purchase from their website for real life. This is, again, a real thing that you can do. As I'm sure you know, but I will remind you, they have 3 retail locations, including Fort Mitchell, Loveland, and Oakley Hyde Park, where in those locations, they can print on demand. If they don't have the size of something you want, you can print on demand. I assume this means postcast shirts as well. Give it a shot. Let me know how that goes. If, for some reason, you do not want to purchase one of our shirts, I won't hold it against you. You can use promo code ThePostCincy. That's all one word, all caps, ThePostCincy for 10% off your next order. This also works with postcast shirts, so please don't pay full price. Make sure you knock 10% off for yourself on that one. Spread the code far and wide, I guess, and let them know about Cincy shirts and let them know about the podcast while you're at it. Otherwise, the code doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, a huge thank you to Cincy Shirts for sponsoring this episode and so many before it. And if I do see you out there with a t-shirt, I will be embarrassed for you, but I will probably give you a high five and tell you well done. So again, thank you to Cincy Shirts. Thank you to you for buying shirts and using that promo code. All right, we are back, and we got a couple of MLS topics to touch on, and I want to start with one that I know is near and dear to Grayson's heart. The former U.S. men's national team assistant coach B.J. Callahan is off to Nashville. What started as a shitpost from some of their fans down in Nashville on Twitter, Travis amongst them, has turned into a real thing. I don't know if their administration is taking notes from Twitter or if they were guessing, but I will say for me, this is a classic low ambition move for Nashville. But Grayson, I know you have some thoughts on maybe the caliber of coach BJ Callahan is versus the caliber of coach you'd expect to be taking an MLS head coaching job. Is that fair to frame it that way?
Yeah. I don't have a lot of thoughts specifically about the caliber of BJ Callahan as a coach, just because, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he may be amazing.
What his caliber as a coach is. He may be great. What we know from his experience is that he was the second choice interim manager for the national team when Greg was I don't know, on his hiatus or whatever. The first choice interim manager was Anthony Hudson, who was one of the worst MLS coaches of all time.
He's in the conversation for the worst, absolutely.
The funny thing about BJ, and again, I have nothing against BJ, but so many people in the US men's national team fandom have projected so much on him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read a tweet from 11 Yanks. Okay?
If you have to.
The last remaining shred of decency and competence has left at U.S. Soccer. It's time for Greg, Crocker, JT, and Parlo Cone to follow suit. Thank you for your service, BJ. Your short time in charge was the most enjoyment I had watching the at USMNT in years. And the thing is, you don't know who this person is. To see decency, I'm sure he's a good dude, right? But I'm sure other people in US soccer are decent people. It's just wild for these people, these what some have called the QSMNT people.
Yes.
To have built this entire mythology in their heads over who various characters are. It's BJ Callahan is the Michael Flynn of QSMNT. It's insane. And this is a guy, by the way, he wasn't just the second choice interim coach behind Anthony Hudson. He was the guy who was in charge of the men's national team when they lost to Panama in the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup.
Oh.
The last time they lost to Panama, BJ Callahan was the coach. He might be a great guy. He might be a real good coach. But picking him to coach your club team feels like you're just too online.
Yeah. Has he ever worked at a club?
He did work at Philly for a couple of years.
Okay.
He's never been a head coach.
He's never been a head coach, except for interim head coach.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And he wasn't a main head coach at Philly. It wasn't like Pat Noonan, right?
Right.
Who was viewed as a head coach in waiting for 5 years.
Man, it is funny because wasn't Dave Sarakin the Philly Union coach for a long time?
I think he was Chicago.
Was he? Dang. I was thinking there's a weird pipeline of fringe U.S. men's national team coaches.
I think John Hackworth may have been
That's
coach
who I'm thinking of.
Philly Union.
That's who I was thinking of.
So Dave Sarakin was head coach of Chicago Fire for 6 years.
Okay. I was confusing him with Hackworth. That's right.
And I think Dave is currently
some tropical highland head coach.
Yeah. Well, no, he was. I think most recently he was an assistant at Maccabi Haifa.
That's right.
Behind whatever Robbie Keane was coaching.
Yep.
Hackworth was coach of Philly Union for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's now the St. Louis interim.
Yeah. Man.
Sarakin's
had a weird career. United States interim.
But imagine like Sarakin was the guy who like introduced a bunch of young players into the national team, right?
Yeah, like I think he gave basically this entire like McKinney, Adams.
Well, so Pulisic was already like a full national team guy when they lost in Cuba, but like McKinney, Adams, a bunch of other guys.
CCV
they had
probably.
They had like only like a cup of tea. Like Sarakin was the guy who like really brought them forward.
Yeah.
So imagine like this entire mythology had like built around Dave Sarakin. Like he was like this unrecognized genius of US men's soccer. That like only people on Twitter who whose claim to fame was like coaching youths in Thailand, but don't ask questions about their time there. Was just like Dave Sarakin is the only decent person in all of U.S. soccer.
He's the only way.
And then imagine that like New England Revolution was just like, yeah, we'll hire that guy. Like it's crazy. Anyway, I wish BJ the best at Nashville.
I mean, I don't. I hope they fail spectacularly. But Jonah,
yeah,
grown adults named BJ. You trust him or not trust him?
I'm trying to think of. I don't trust BJs. I don't trust DJs. I don't trust CJs.
Even in a post hoc Tua society.
She's going to get more write-in votes than people expect the upcoming election. Also, like anybody could have been that interim manager, and I think there would have been the interim bump. You're playing probably worse teams to start, and everyone's like trying to pull it together. I was thinking watching England in the Euros, and this is something we'd say, and we sound like idiots because like there's a lot to managing, but I said it with my full heart. If any of us were managing England and just picked the lineup and said, go out there, you guys know what to do, there's no way it would have looked worse. That's one of those things. And it's like, I'm not even being facetious. Like literally just go out there and play your best. You guys know what to do. It wouldn't look that bad. So there's a little bit of that. I mean, maybe he'll be fine. I don't know. We know nothing about him, but yeah, obviously I'm rooting for his failure. He does have that nice guy face. I think he gets a lot. He doesn't look like an asshole. I have no reason to think he was, but like, yeah, he just, he's kind of pleasantly plump in a very charming way. He's got that round face. He just looks like a nice guy. He looks friendly. Yeah. If you saw him on the street, you'd give him a smile. So, it worked out for him. Just kind of like the inverse kind of Alan Koch's square jaw that got him so many jobs when he shouldn't have gotten them. Just like looks like a manager. So, but yeah, I'm with Kevin. I hope he falls on his face, but with a smile.
Yeah.
Good luck, BJ.
It is a little confusing for Nashville sports fans that they now will have a BJ Callahan and Brian Callahan head coaches, and both the NFL team and Nashville have a player named Tyler Boyd on their roster. So that could be fun. You could have
synchronicity.
So just get bit by my cat. That could be fun. You could do something fun with that. So yeah, BJ Callahan, weird. If it's not Callahan as Michael Flynn, who is Q, and is it tactical manager? Or is it 29? Who is Q? Or maybe it's a science fiction writer, father-son duo.
11 Yanks bio makes it him kind of very Q-ish of like the figure is off the grid.
If you've seen the Q documentary on HBO, 11 Yanks bio has a lot of I don't know, random shared details with the people who may or may not be Q.
Or John McAfee.
Oh,
yeah. He's got a little bit of that to him, too.
Yeah.
He's getting crazier and crazier as well with the tweets. 11 Yanks, that is.
He apparently made a movie about like human trafficking, which is like very Pizzagate and Q.
It just gets worse. I'll also throw into the ring, although he's not quite as big in U.S. men's national team circles, Will Forbes, MLS Moves, as he goes by these days. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just because he's already been found to be using a fake name, and that's pretty good.
I'm like giving up the game here, but like post adjacent needs to start an MLS account, something with MLS in the handle, veering towards
MLS
hopefully
post.
parody. Yeah. And then we get in on, because like they just get follows and people like, that's all you need to trust. I'm like, oh, MLS Rumors says this. I'm like, who the fuck is this? I always want to be like, show yourself, please.
Yeah. Please post a selfie every time you send this. Post USMNT. So that'll be good.
That's a good double entendre too. Like,
Yeah.
Greg should go, right?
Yeah. He didn't need, like, you could maybe squint and see why he should stick around after the World Cup. But the second there was the weirdness with the arenas, it should have been over right then and there.
And then you can't get grouped in the Copa America.
No.
On U.S. soil. And like I think the thing where it's like, yeah, the players aren't as good necessarily as we would like to think. Sure. But like, you can't change the players, and certainly Greg has not shown any interest in changing the players.
Yeah.
So like, you could change the coach.
That's all you got.
Yep.
And if anything, you hear this cliche, especially in England, it's like you're sending a message to the players that their performance isn't good enough, that changes will be made to the team. And in like quintessential team sport, you just sort of move back and forth between hard-ass coach and player coach. Sure sounds like Berhalter is a player's coach, and now just go find a strict disciplinarian who will ban ketchup from team meetings or whatever and just shake it up, see what happens. Another topic that I am super interested in is tomorrow night, 4th of July at 10:30 p.m. El Traffico is going to kick off a amazing, selling moment for the league, what should be a showcase of one of the best matchups in the league, the top two teams in the West going at it in the Rose Bowl. It should be a hell of an atmosphere, and it's going to kick off in such a way that the game will end after midnight on the East Coast. Just absolutely ruining whatever moment this could have been. Is there a league more afraid of success than Major League Soccer? Like, what was stopping them from doing a 5:30 local kickoff and just having this be an 8:30 dominate the holiday sort of moment for the sport, for the league, for these teams? It just seems absolutely insane. I guess.
See how hot it is. Not that hot.
Yeah, maybe they want it to end when it's dark out so they can do fireworks. Like, that's literally the only thing I can think of that they're trying to do here. I don't know. It just seems so weird.
Was Messi going to be there?
No.
Oh, well.
Well, I don't know. Where's the Copa game? Maybe he will be.
Oh, my God.
He's hurt.
If he came to the game, they would show him. Yeah. They'd probably have a camera just on him.
I can't imagine a scenario where I'm allowed to watch a MLS game at 10:30 p.m. on 4th of July.
And would you want to, even if it was...
No.
Hey, family, so we can go to the local fireworks show, or we can all stay in so Dad can watch two West Coast MLS teams play.
Oh, I didn't realize they were 3rd and 4th, and
They're good
Shield.
teams. This should be fun.
It should be happening right now.
Is this the rescheduled Rose Bowl game?
No, this is the second one. They're gonna try to.
Oh, that already happened.
Oh, they did this on purpose.
No, this one was intentional. Last year was the delayed one.
That was a year ago?
It was.
Jesus Christ. Where's the time fly? We've just been too good for too long.
Because last year it was supposed to be the opening game of the MLS season. Yeah.
Wow.
And then they moved it to 4th of July. And then I guess they thought, like, well, that was the greatest thing ever. Let's keep doing that.
I'll check tickets. It's not too late. We can get out there. Babe, this is a big one. 3rd and 4th, like we're 1st and 2nd is on Saturday. Like, babe, I don't want to hear about that.
This is the on purpose one.
This one just means more.
It just means more.
It's a 6-pointer.
LAFC are Protestant. Wait, no. LAFC are the Catholic. LA Galaxy are the Protestants. Yep. This is Celtic Rangers. Sorry.
Yes.
Let me get that straight. Definitely. I don't need to explain any further.
It's very probably wrong, but it's basically... Never mind. I'll stop it.
Talk to me, Kevin.
So clearly, LA Galaxy is the white team, and LAFC is the black and Latino team. They wear all white, they wear black and gold. Like it just is too perfect here.
Yeah. Although LA Galaxy is probably, they also, from any time I've seen their fans, is very Hispanic as well. But they didn't lean into, like, they wanted to be, the team. LAFC isn't, but like, we're everyone. We're the golden team of MLS, and LAFC leaned much harder into that with their supporters, and obviously, that was the correct move. So
yes,
worked out well.
Yeah. Galaxy tried to do the Hollywood thing. Is there anything else around the league or around FCC that I am missing? Or
did we have the confirmed 3 All-Star?
Oh, we did not. But as predicted on the postcast, FC Cincinnati will send 3 All-Stars to the MLS All-Star team. Miles Robinson, Lucho Acosta, Luca Oriano. And
as Nick Hagland correctly pronounced in the video.
Makes you think. But so we heard from Mike Watts, because I've heard people criticize Tommy G about this. From the club's official pronunciation guide, they still have it as Oriano, which is why you will continue to hear that. So
that's all right.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
So go easy on the broadcasters. I
stand with Nick.
I agree. I'm just saying go easy on the broadcasters, because the homework they've been given is telling them something else.
Go easy on Tommy G. Go hard on any other broadcaster.
Literally fair. Everybody else.
That's very fair. Will either of you watch the All-Star game?
No.
I'll, I probably started off like right.
If
is Messi and Lucho, are they out there together? Is this happening? Because you're gonna get Lucho on like 10 million if he's like trying to like show off at the same time. That might be worth watching. And is he gonna do the skills thing again?
That's a real good point. If you get Messi with Lucho. Could you imagine like Lucho like putting his arms down and just like complaining at Messi for like where Messi like didn't run or put the pass or whatever.
My body's ready. I'm not ready for that second half when 5 crew players come in the game, or I'll definitely not be watching that.
Did any crew player get voted in?
No.
Wow.
They were all coach or commissioner picks.
They Gerald Forded their way into the All-Star Game. Incredible.
Yep. They're all Gavin Newsoms.
Chaos is a ladder. Do either of you know when the All-Star Game is? I had to look it up.
July 24.
Wow, somebody pays attention to the promotional materials.
We were on this podcast like a week ago, and we were talking about the Olympics, and the first Olympic game is the same day as the All-Star Game.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Yeah. How the turntables.
I've got no idea who those people are. July 24th. There you go. In Columbus. I have no interest in going to one, even if it was at TQL Stadium.
I can't imagine the price gouging.
Especially when Ronaldo joins this team, it'll cost like $900.
I think they should do East versus West.
Yes.
I don't like the All-Stars versus like Tottenham or All-Stars versus like Liga MX All-Stars or whatever. Just do East versus West. There's enough good players on the team, and it's a silly, stupid little game. You don't need to make it like it's silly to make it like a thing where you're like, oh, we're going to have like 9 attackers, 1 defender, and a goalkeeper against Arsenal. That's stupid. It's stupid. It's not a measure of like where your league is versus the other leagues in the world.
Right.
Like, just make it a fun thing. East versus West. There's enough good players in the league that it could be just like a fun little exhibition contest.
Yeah. And if you did
what is it this year? Okay.
Every team could send at least one player.
They're playing Liga MX All-Stars.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I will say is the least objectionable.
It's the least objectionable thing they've done in recent years.
Yeah.
Like last year they played Arsenal. Yeah. And it's like, it's like should we base Alvaro Barrial's international monetary value on whether he, a winger playing left back, can fully stop Saka.
Yeah, right. In a game that neither of them care about. So, like, yeah. I will say, way back in the day, MLS used to do East versus West. So it would not be a brand new concept, but they
just
really
do that.
They found a cash cow with bringing over super clubs, and
just do that. That's way more fun.
I'd love to see the ratings year over year.
Nobody watches this,
I know.
Or I've really liked the ideas of like an MLS American team versus an MLS foreign team.
That's a good idea.
Or the MLS American team versus the U.S. men's national team. I think it would be fun for next year only. And I bring it up because I know it's not realistic, but if it can fall within a FIFA window, I think the U.S. men's national team players would have to be released. And it would be fun. They need teams to play next year in international windows, because everybody else is playing Nations League and World Cup qualifying. And outside of Nations League, I guess, I don't even know if they're going to do that leading up to the World Cup. The U.S. men's national team needs games. They need to play teams. It's going to be hard to schedule these games against teams that aren't, as we've seen, New Zealand or in the past, like the Croatian U23 team. Yeah.
All the Nations League stuff makes it very hard for them to schedule like a good opponent.
Right. So
MLS best 11 versus U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
I'm taking MLS.
I'm taking MLS as well.
All day, every day.
MLS only American is a much more even fight.
Yeah,
MLS
honestly,
All-Stars.
I want to see that though, because fuck you guys. That's why.
Yeah, and like let MLS have first choice of any American eligible MLS, or let US have first choice of any American eligible MLS players.
Is Lucho American?
You have to
by
play
then?
them.
We'll nationalize, or we'll award Lucho his citizenship right before kickoff, so the national team can't.
No, so
claim him.
like they can't just like take Miles and Walker, but like
Stash
throw them on the
them,
bench.
Right.
It's like if you want to use them,
Yeah.
you have to start them.
Yeah, you get your first choice 11, and then MLS, and then your bench, and then MLS's bench.
Yep. I think so.
I got to make some lineups. That's a tweet. Not a good one for midnight, but
It'll be good from the post USMNT account.
yeah. And retweeted by the post MLS account.
I mean, all of this makes sense since like America is over.
It's true. Ooh, okay. So the 8 super states that take America's place, their best 11s.
Have there been any? I bet there's been some of those flag accounts. Like if Joe Biden was awake, he would do something about this soccer team embarrassing the country. He needs to step in. Get rid of Greg.
Funny that neither presidential candidate has weighed in on what would just be the easiest way to earn points by saying Greg Berhalter should step down or be fired. It would cost them nothing. And
Trump would just say that, soccer's for losers. These guys are losers. I'm a winner. Stop funding these guys.
So what I enjoyed recently was Brian McBride, who used to be general manager of the national team, but now he's like nothing.
And was let go or not re-signed, but it was
he was not re-signed by the national team.
Did you hear him on the Dallas game? It all makes sense. It was not. Dado of Venezuela had a great game, as he repeatedly called him.
I have not heard an announcer at a televised game for like years.
You're missing out.
But he went on Kicking It, and they asked him like who would be the best coach for this national team pool, and he said Jurgen
Klinsmann.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 Jurgens out there these days.
No, he said Klinsmann. Yeah.
No, Klinsmann's an awful manager. See all of his work.
Yeah.
He might be
making the semifinal of Copa America.
They did it in 94 too. All right.
95
or whatever. Yeah, I guess there's a World Cup then or whatever.
He's like a player's manager, but the players don't like him. You know, it's weird. Like he's got that, like he's like, right. He doesn't have any, like he should be the rah-rah guy because he doesn't have any tactics. But I mean, I think that players, yeah. So what does he have? He got us some German Americans.
It's funny because Greg is like a tactics manager who doesn't care if the players fit his tactics.
Right.
Like he's just like these are my guys and these are my tactics.
Let's go win some games.
Yeah, let's go. What's the thing where it's like this is my rifle, this is my gun.
Oh yeah.
This is for killing, this is for fun or something. Like that's like Jurgen. He's like not Jurgen, it's Greg. It's like this is my tactics, this are my guys. They're both for fun.
If I remember correctly, and it's been a long time since I've read it, and if people are interested, it's a good read, Das Reboot, how the German Federation completely restarted their entire soccer program from the top down, or from the bottom up, I should say. And actually their big thing was focusing on coaching. And it's something that you never hear about in U.S. soccer circles, which is they made getting coaching license free. They tried to get as many people to be coaches, blah, blah, blah. But in that book, they talk about how Jurgen Klinsmann was instrumental in changing the German national team, but he ultimately wasn't good enough to be the guy to do it. He was... it was Lowe, who was an assistant on Klinsmann's staff, that ended up being the one to get him over the edge or over the top. But they said one of the big innovations that Klinsmann brought was sports science from the United States, along with like yoga and an emphasis on mindfulness and things like that were relatively new in the sports space at that time. But now that like that's common everywhere, it doesn't appear that Klinsmann actually brings anything new to the table. Like, he's not going to blow their minds by showing them, hey guys, if we stretch before and after games, we're going to be even better. It just doesn't work anymore. So there you go.
Bring it back.
Go read that book.
It sounds interesting.
Well, this is going too long. Let's go talk about Inter Miami and we can stop recording. And we're back. Oh my gosh. We've got Inter Miami, the match of the season, coming up this weekend in TQL Stadium. Hopefully you were able to sell your tickets for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more than they were worth. This was a good one to recoup your costs, because particularly going into this one, Jordi Alba and Diego Gomez are both going to miss with yellow card accumulation. You've got Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi out at the Copa America. This is not quite the Inter Miami we thought we were going to be facing, and then some. Jonah, I'll ask you first. Is this a 6-pointer?
Is that an opinion question or sort of this?
There was some debate on the Discord about whether or not this can be or is a 6-pointer.
It feels like it. We've been scoreboard watching them for so long, these games, and I still have that dream when you see them go down early or tied late or losing late, and I think I've just accepted that they're going to win all these games. Any game we win, they're going to win. So it's nice to let's settle this on the field. And I could care less if they're. I'm not one of these people. I saw Messi at the Open Cup. That was great until it was horrible. So right. I like, don't you want to see the GOAT in person? Like, I'm good. I'd rather see us win at this point. I saw it. I can cross it off the list. So yeah, I don't care how depleted they are. It's a big game, and I just want to get over that fucking line that we've been staring at all year. Their stupid game in hand. So I don't know what the debate was, what makes it a 6-pointer or not, but I'll go yes, 6-pointer, and someone can explain why it's not to me later.
Grayson, why is it not a 6-pointer?
It's not a 6-pointer because there are so many games left this year, and it's not just about like, can you get 3 points against Miami this weekend?
Yeah,
it's about how are you maximizing points through the rest of the year. So we have, I think, 4 games before the Leagues Cup break.
Sounds right.
I would rather maximize points through that time. So like, it's not the end of the world if we don't get all 3 points against Miami this weekend. However, we did get 3 points tonight, and we have a full week before our next game after Saturday. So,
that is true.
Let's go.
4 games to Leagues Cup, counting Miami.
4 games to Leagues
Cup.
It said 4, right?
Okay, yeah.
You did. We're confirming your math. Charlotte and Chicago in there, not the strongest teams, although Charlotte's been a little warmer recently.
Charlotte's been an extremely strong defensive team.
That's true. The New York Red Bulls game, Saturday, July 20th, looming out there. They've been pretty good. Although
many people have been talking about how that is the postcast away game this year.
That is. And
no one knows where the postcast is staying that weekend.
Neither does the postcast. Right before I fall asleep each night, I think, I should check. No, I'll do it in the morning. And that's every single day for the last 2 weeks. New York Red Bulls sent no representatives to the All-Star game. How about that?
Well, they transferred Frankie, so I'm sure he would have been there.
Too bad.
I kid.
I don't know. I think at home, which apparently we're bad at, so maybe if this was on the road, I'd feel better about it. But at home, missing everybody that you've heard of outside of Busquets and Kremeski or Kremeski or whatever his name is. Kremeski. Benjamin Kremeski.
Kremeski. Yep.
What a name. I think we win this one. Not only do I think we win it, I think we have to win it, and pressure should be on this team to win it. I think this is an incredibly important game.
Calling it a must win?
I'll call it a must win.
Oh, pressure's on. I hope the boys are listening.
Now they know.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be, obviously it's the same crowd every time. 25-5-1-3. But the big crowd, I'm sure it's been sold out for a long time. Obviously, there's people who wanted Messi. Hopefully the lack of Messi will keep some of the pink away. But whatever, if you come in a pink jersey, you're going to be entertained by hopefully a Miami beatdown. It would be nice to have a non-nerve-wracking, joyous beatdown of Miami. And I'm not expecting that. They've proven that they're good without tons of their players. So I think they'll find a way to at least this will be a close game. But I do think we'll take it home. But wouldn't it be nice? A 3-1, a 3-0, if I could be so bold. But, with this back line, clean sheets are going to be hard to come by in general. But that would be nice. And just us just celebrating. And then maybe they'll show the table on the big screen after the game or something. Just whoop. The flags like at a Reds game, just like, that'd be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't sell my tickets if that isn't clear.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm a soccer fan, Kevin. Season ticket holder.
Actually, it's very annoying. This is the first game going forward where I don't have tickets for the rest of this year. So if somebody has some tickets, let me know.
On SeatGeek, the get in the door price is $87, by the way. That's where we're at. 70.
My couch
70.
is very comfortable.
There you go.
You gave me an idea, though, where the Reds do have the banner, and they used to do the flags, I think. Yeah. They should have to do that for FCC, but since all of the games kick off at 7:30, I need the live table during the game.
Just keep Gary up there.
Is it just called signaling in sailing, where they have all the flag signal flags or whatever, where they all send different messages? Do we know what I'm talking about?
If Grayson doesn't know, nobody knows. No sailing reference.
Sailing, and you see it on scuba diving stuff where it's always these weird.
No, okay, we're not doing this.
Are you talking international maritime signal flags?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Clearly, I should have used the extremely formal name so you would understand it.
No, there's a shitload. No, as Wikipedia, yeah, there's a shitload of flags. That would be amusing to see. You're worried about the bottom of the table. Some guys just it's been so distracting because you'd be watching that the whole guy there's a goal. Look over there.
That would be more fun than half the games you see.
I'll let Katie Solomon know about that.
Please.
Excuse me.
Opie has a suggestion.
Opie has a suggestion.
So thankfully, we have all of our players that we're going to have, I guess, in this one. Corey Baird is healthy, so that's a thing.
Didn't play today.
Didn't play. Neither did Bupenza. Who subs in first?
Love it.
Does Baird or Bupenza appear first?
I mean, Bupenza is like already proven that he can sub in.
Yeah.
But he's also proven he sucks. So
it also feels like both are. Never mind.
Well, Baird kind of.
No, we love them both. They're both going to be players here forever.
Oh, God.
But Baird, like, finally had a couple of moments right before we didn't see him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so in my mind, he got benched, but I'm like, no, I guess he just got hurt because he had that game where he finally scored and like had an assist.
Yep.
But I'm done with him. I don't want to ever see him again. Like, I'm happy. I feel bad, but like I'm happy with Santos coming in at this point. Like, it's fine. Like, the way things are going, like I feel like his mojo is not. He doesn't know. We've been through too much without him. Sorry, buddy.
If Baird can play wingback, he's got a role on this team. All right.
He wouldn't be bad. He plays defense.
Could you imagine Bupenza playing wingback?
I can for one game until like Ian Murphy chews him out, and that's enough for him to quit.
He just walks off.
He's like, I'm too handsome for this.
He just walks off like what's Burt Lancaster's character in Field of Dreams. He's just like, no, I'm a doctor now. I'm leaving forever.
I thought you were gonna say Antonio Brown. He just like takes his jersey off and just like walks into the locker room. And I was like, what?
Or
We need to sum him off.
Vontae Davis. R.I.P.
Yeah, just retire at halftime. Yeah, Bupenza. I was thinking when we were talking about Kelsey, just looks like he's so good. Bupenza is one of those ones like, wait. I heard he's really good and I've seen highlights, but like you watch him, it's not obvious.
No, I'm thinking Bupenza walks like to the Bailey and then he turns into Burt Lancaster. He's like,
my dad texts me crying.
He just is like, I'm just a fan of the team now. Yeah. He's just standing at the Bailey cheering.
Who's the least likely to do the Wondolowski on the team? Is it him? Who's the least likely to be in the Bailey cheering with the team? The least likely. Is it Bupenza?
Lucho.
No, he would do it for like a second,
because Lucia's gonna be on the field the entire time.
Let's say he's suspended for a game for something, which is possible. Not
he's
eligible
had opportunities.
I know, but it's like not eligible. Lucho's not the least likely. Bupenza is less likely to be in that crowd, I think.
It might be Kubo.
That makes sense.
True.
But that's not a negative.
Quiet.
Yeah, it's not like an insult.
He's just too nervous.
Or Buka, apparently, based off that the article about him. He's very.
If you brought Kip to the Bailey, Buka would go.
That's true.
Buddy, yeah.
They're inseparable.
I will protect you.
Kip is like unprotected.
He's this muscle somehow.
Who's the most likely? Not Nick Hegland,
right?
Besides Nick Hegland,
exception.
Who's the most likely?
Who's the most likely?
Is Matt Miazga healthy?
It's funnier if he's on a cast.
I think
Roman would have some fun.
He wouldn't be going crazy, but he'd just be like enjoying himself.
Yeah, Roman would like look to the left, look to the right, and be like, "This is happening."
I'm here. All right.
Yeah, that's it. Predictions. Jonah, go back to you.
Weston McKennie does happen.
There we go.
And he's joined by Paulo Dybala. So expect that this week. Something big. Something big is happening. That's what MLS Moves said. So next 24 hours could be crazy. All right. A statement so bold. And then anything happens, I'm like, I told you this shit's getting crazy. But 3-1 FCC. We get the scoreline we should have had tonight.
God, I'd love it. Yeah, that, by the way, that's where the QSMNT shit comes from. All right. Like, that's just, it wasn't just made up to insult people. It's like, it's how they behave. Grayson, what do you got?
We're playing Miami.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say 2-2.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Almost said 1-1. I veered to 3-1.
I'm going to the game.
Mm.
It's at home.
It is.
And my wife is also going. That means it's gonna not be a very fun game.
Oh no.
Yeah. So 2-2.
I mean, 4 goals is more fun than like 0-0. I will predict a 1-0 FC Cincinnati victory.
Hell yeah.
Classic us. All right.
Nerve-wracking game then.
Oh, we score in like the first 3 minutes.
And then we just hold on for dear life. Yeah.
It'll be miserable. We'll all have a good time. And then finally, have we accepted Dotto and Kelsey as the starting strikers, period? Like,
Sure.
All right.
I'm
deal.
Team Dotto until he proves that he's not the man. Obviously, he still is.
It feels like almost like it's Team Dotto until he proves he is the man.
Yeah, right. Second he
Then he's
scores
the
a goal.
super sub.
like I'm waiting for Dotto to do literally anything.
Maybe they told him once he gets his first goal, then he'll go back into the rotation. So he's decided not to score.
You'll be a pro once you score.
Yeah, right. Get your goal and get out of here.
So at least now you can just assure yourself, just never sitting bench.
The only winning move is not to play. Well, unless Chief sends me a recording from an airplane over the ocean, I will say from...
Fuck Columbus.
Oh, I was going to say, of all times, fuck San Diego makes sense if you look at all of the workplace allegations in the NWSL right now. But sure, we'll go back to a classic.
Fuck Columbus.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati. And like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge thank you to everybody for listening to the show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.